Hello and welcome to Deakin's Virtual Open Day. I'm James Durfler, Chair in Architecture, and we're thrilled to have you with us as we chat about the Bachelor of Design and Architecture program. As Chair in Architecture, I'm the leader in the discipline, and I will be seeing you in your time with us here at Deakin over the course of your studies, and I look forward to working with you and hearing about your successes as you continue here at Deakin. I wish to begin by acknowledging the people of the land on which I am currently located here in Geelong, the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nations, the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathered virtually today. We pay our respects to the local people for allowing us to host our meeting on their land, and respect to their elders past, present, and future. As a student, you've worked very hard to get to this point, graduating, coming to Deakin, thinking about joining us. At Deakin, we want to take your skills and experiences and build on them to enable your future successes. Let's begin by having a quick chat about talking about what is architecture. To quote the Australian Institute of Architects website, architecture is one of the most influential professions in our global society. A career in architecture offers opportunities to shape, perhaps even transform the environment in which we live. Architecture brings together the arts, environmental awareness, sciences, and technology. The profession of architecture involves everything that influences the way in which the built environment is planned, designed, made, used, and maintained. Architects combine creative designs with technical knowledge to improve integrated solutions for built and natural environments. Architecture is a passion, a vocation, a calling, as well as a science and a business. It has been described as a social art and also an artful science. Architecture must be of the highest quality of design. Architecture provides, in the words of Marcus Vitruvius, the great Roman architect and historian from the 1st century BC, the idea of firmness, commodity, and delight. Architecture provides a sense of place and a support of all types of human activity. Architecture helps the man-made fit in harmony with the environment while promoting health and well-being, enriching lives aesthetically and spiritually, providing economic opportunities, and creating a legacy that reflects and symbolizes culture and traditions. Our discipline is about transformation. We are interested in transforming the lives of people who inhabit buildings and the built environment. Architecture is art that prompts new questions about how we live. It is innovation that helps us live sustainably, and it is environments that create new possibilities. From climate change to social equity, urbanization, and resiliency, architects transform our lives and frame the future of how we live. Architecture can change the world. Why study architecture at Deakin? Because from day one, when you arrive to take our course, you will be in a design studio. So you'll be learning about architecture from that very first day. We have an excellent community here at the Waterfront campus in Geelong. We really have a close-knit group of both academic staff and students, and we spend a lot of time with each other in the design studio, and we form some real community bonds. So I would argue that we have this amazing opportunity to create community and discuss our passions about architecture here that is beyond what most schools are involved in. As an architect, you work with your hands. You design and build models, you draw, you think about various things with physical expression. So you have the opportunity to both develop these physical ways of looking at building, as well as digital skills that will guide the people that will be building the projects for you in the future. We have instructors and lecturers that have lots of industry experience. We have actual practicing architects come and teach with us, and a lot of our academic staff have many years of industry experience as well. So these are all pluses for you to learn about architecture from people that have that kind of experience. Many of our projects take on real-world sites, so that means that the buildings that you're designing are involved in actual placemaking. We give you a place that you are creating a building for. So this allows you to think about the impact of that building on that particular site and in the greater urban environment or rural environment, depending on where the project is. If you are traveling from Melbourne or other places in regional Victoria, the campus is easily accessible via public transport. We are just a few blocks away from the train station. There's lots of parking in downtown Geelong. We have a parking lot neighboring to the waterfront site, so it's easy to travel here and be able to take our classes. Our entry requirements are here on this slide. So if we're looking at the Bachelor of Design and Architecture, we see that overall it's a 3-year program. So you'll be here for 3 years taking classes in that particular course. It's here at the Waterfront campus. And the 220 ATAR lowest selection rank is 70.35. The prerequisite for the course is as a school leaver, you need to take the VCE units 3 and 4. You need to have a study score of at least 25 in English, the EAL, or 20 in English other than EAL. And you need to go through the VTAC application process. If you're an applicant from other tertiary institutions, VET, or have life or work experience, this will be based on your performance that you provide and a certificate for and a related discipline, or a diploma in any discipline, or 50% completion of diploma in a related discipline, or successful completion of relevant study at an accredited higher education institution equivalent to at least 2 Deakin University units or other evidence of academic capability judged to be equivalent, for example, relevant work or life experience. In other words, if you're already working in the profession in some capacity, that also counts as meeting our entry requirements. You can also see there are a number of other bachelor courses that are available in our school, the School of Architecture and the Built Environment. We have a Bachelor of Construction Management, which is an honors course, and that has a 4-year duration. That's also at Waterfront campus. The 220 ATAR is 60.4, very similar prerequisites. And we also have a couple of dual degree programs, meaning that over the course of the time that you're with us, you'll get 2 bachelor's degrees. So here we have the Bachelor of Design and Architecture and the Bachelor of Construction Management Honors, which is a 5-year course of study. That's at the Waterfront campus, 79.75 ATAR. And that is also covered in a separate presentation today, so you can go over and have a look at that if you're interested in that particular double degree. And we also have another double degree called the Bachelor of Construction Management Honors and the Bachelor of Property and Real Estate, which is also 5-year duration. That's taken at both Burwood and Waterfront campus. The ATAR rank is 71.25. You do not have to attend Burwood campus to take those classes, because all the property and real estate units are also offered on the cloud online here at Deakin. So you can just simply come to Waterfront and take those classes when you need to online. There are a number of different pathways other than the typical year 12 graduation and going through the ATAR process. We have pathways that come from TAFE. So we use TAFE study as a stepping stone into the university. We ask that you take related and completed diplomas or advanced diplomas that count as credit toward your entry into Deakin. These diplomas include Advanced Diploma of Building Design in Architecture, and also the Diploma in Building and Construction for the construction management side. The course transfer is that you need a 65 weighted average mark, a WAM, after the completion of 1 trimester, and at least 2 credit points of study in the enrolled course in order to apply to come in through this pathway. You also can complete the diploma programs that are available at TAFE and come in with some advanced standing into our course as well. The overall course structure for this is that the Bachelor of Design and Architecture is that you'll typically complete 24 credit units over the 3-year duration of the course. Most students choose to study 4 units per trimester and usually undertake 2 trimesters a year. So that's basically 8 units per year, 24 credits over 3 years. You can choose your elective credits from many course areas across the university according to your own interests and career aspirations. And we'll see an outline of this coming up in another slide or two. And the course duration is 3 years. So this slide shows the year-by-year breakdown of the units that you'll be taking within the course. Here you see on the far left the year 1, the trimesters 1 and 2, and then the courses are abbreviated here in these various boxes. So in trimester 1, you'll take an Art and Society unit. That is one of our history theory courses. You'll also take an Architecture Design Studio, a Building Materials Science class, which is in our technology stream, and also a communication class around drawing, which is in our communication and visualization stream. So these 4 classes form the 4 subdiscipline groups that make up our architecture curriculum: history theory, design, technology, and communication and visualization. Throughout your career here at Deakin, you'll take a variety of classes in those various subdisciplinary streams. You'll see then at trimester 2, you'll have another design studio, which is more heavily weighted. It's actually a 2 credit point course. You'll also have another technology class, construction and structures, and then another architecture, communication, visualization class where you look at 3-dimensional modeling from a digital perspective. You can see that then the courses, as we go through the remaining years, are outlined specifically with these boxes that allow you to see where the elective units fall into the overall curriculum mapping that we're providing here. Those elective units can be taken in our sister disciplines that are in the school, which is construction management and landscape architecture, or they can be taken in any area around Deakin University. We have a lot of freedom in actually taking those elective units. So they can be very professionally oriented, or they can give you a broader understanding of other things that you're interested in that you can take here at Deakin. So why would you come to Deakin University? Here's a couple of statistics that we can supply to you. Deakin is ranked 29th in the 2020 World University Rankings, top 50 under 50. So we're ranked 29th in schools that are, universities that are less than 50 years old, according to this QS survey. We are the #1 university for student satisfaction of all Victorian universities. We have had the most satisfied students 10 years in a row in this study. Deakin is the #1 ranked university in Australia for architecture and building in the Good Universities website, as you can see noted below. And we also have the School of Architecture and Built Environment has a high rating for graduate satisfaction, with course and graduate job and pay outcomes being very high. High-achieving students who are recognized by industry, and we have a number of recipients of various awards that have been graduates and recent graduates of Deakin University. A typical week for a student coming into the architecture course looks something like this. You have Monday, you might have a communications and drawing class. This will be 1 hour of class, which is typically a lecture, 2 hours of practical, and 1 hour of studio. Those are both typically interactive sessions where you'll work with a tutor or one of our permanent or sessional staff around those classes. Tuesday, you'll have a design studio. That's typically a 2-hour class, which is usually a lecture, and a 4-hour design studio. So you'll have 2 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon in the interactive sessions. Wednesday, you might have the building materials class, which is one of our technology classes. This is structured perhaps as a 1-hour online class and then a 1-hour seminar where you're broken down into smaller groups and you have discussion groups around the topics that you've discussed during that week. Thursday, you'll have one of your history theory classes, which will be a 1-hour class, again, a lecture type of class, and then a 2-hour seminar to discuss the topics and the various things that have happened in that lecture class. Friday in this particular schedule, you might have open. So you'll have the opportunity on Friday to do some self-study, do some of the work that's required on a weekly basis around the design studio, and do the kind of homework type of things that you'll need to do. So a typical week in trimester 1 of the first year looks something like 15 hours on campus each week, 1 hour of online lecture, and then about 25 hours of self-study. So here I'll say that knowing that we're all in this pandemic situation around COVID, we really don't know what's going to happen by the time next March comes around for trimester 1 in 2021. This trimester, T2, we are teaching all of these units online. We still have the same type of structure where we have a lecture class and then we get involved with smaller groups of students in seminars and studios. And I expect that if things go well and in a bigger picture, that we will hopefully be back on campus for trimester 1 next year. Our facilities are amazing. We have among the best architecture school facilities in Australia. In the center picture here, you'll see a photo of our design studios. We have dedicated 24/7 design studio space. So while we conduct our classes in there during the course of the week, each of the days has a different design studio, the students are also allowed to continue working in the design studio in their groups. They can be involved with their friends or other students that are in the units that they're taking. So there's very much a sense of community around using the design studio, so you can work with your peers and effectively work on your design strategies or your homework from the other units and discuss these types of things in the design studio. You can also see in the left-hand photograph, we have some very contemporary facilities around 3D printing. So these prints come out of digital models, as most of you might have used at some point already. These 3D digital models are then sent to a machine and they come out in a three-dimensional form. As you can see, this person's holding one of the three-dimensional model studies. We also have and are very proud of our workshop that we have. We have a couple of staff members that are extremely good at making sure that you're safe using the workshop, as well as giving you ideas about how things are put together. And this stems from a variety of assignments that you'll have around creating scale models, maybe furniture studies or other types of things that are typical of architectural education, where you're used to making things with your hands. So our workshop is about a block away from our main building, and it is run by a couple of amazing guys that have amazing patience and are very good at what they do, teaching you how to put things together. Deakin is known for its strong industry links. We are very industry focused. We understand what's going on in the profession. We talk to professionals quite often. Our courses are professionally accredited, so we do have to keep them contemporary with what's going on out in the real world. We go through a regular accreditation process, which I'll explain in a couple of slides. Our students are very involved in creating a community here. We have a lecture series that's run by students called the Real Lectures. That typically brings in a professional or somebody involved in the built environment on a weekly basis. And we have discussion groups. They do a short presentation about their work, or they talk about how they've made the transition from school to the profession and describe what their experiences are. So that's quite a wonderful thing that our students do here. We have SONA, which is a student organization that is affiliated with the Australian Institute of Architects, so it's very professionally organized. And it supports our community also by arranging various things like town hall sessions, so that we have the opportunity to explore different issues that might be happening in the real world. They are currently organizing online virtual town halls. These current trimesters that we're teaching, so we have the opportunity to connect the academic staff with the students in a broader sense and see what's going on with the student bodies. And they also connect with the profession. They are the conduit up to the Australian Institute of Architects Victoria branch and to a national level as well. It's quite a great organization to be involved in. We have an opportunity for work integrated learning, which is where students can take internships in offices. This can also be done for credit. So the students can take perhaps one of their elective credits and go through a work integrated learning process where you're embedded in an office and learning various things through a step-by-step process that happens for these units that have credit points attached to them. Work integrated learning also organizes most of our internship opportunities, so they act as sort of a job board as we get calls from offices looking for students to work in them. The Work Integrated Learning Office helps us manage that process as well. Paperspace is something that has a history here at Deakin. It's been going on for almost 20 years as an annual student exhibition over the last 9 years or so. It's been at Federation Square in Melbourne. This year we probably will not be able to do that because our pandemic situation will not clear up in time, but we are planning on doing an exhibition here at the waterfront to continue that tradition. So that will be happening later on this year, as at the end of October, the completion of T2. This is both for graduating students from the bachelor's as well as the master's program. And again, to reinforce the idea that our curriculum is very well connected to what's happening in the profession. I am involved in meeting with our advisory board, talking about things that we do in the curriculum, doing real-world projects, aware of professional competitions, understanding what's happening in Geelong and Melbourne as far as development goes. We're very well connected to understanding how our curriculum relates to the real world and connecting to the profession. We do have professional accreditation. The main body of accreditation is connected to the way the Master of Architecture course is structured. The Bachelor of Architecture course is required, though, because there's 5 years of education required in Australia to become a licensed architect, using the term professional architect. The accreditation process does take into account what we do in the bachelor's and looks very carefully at the evidence that we provide for accreditation in the master's course. So it is the 5-year process that you go through those 2 courses to become a licensed architect. Graduate opportunities for people coming out of this degree program and the master's degree program are obviously to become a professional architect. And you could also get involved in other areas of the built environment. This includes being a specialized architect, perhaps in heritage. You can become very involved in sustainability. You can be involved in restoration and adaptive reuse, or you can become specialized in residential or commercial. Other graduate opportunities include being a project manager, being involved with a developer or a builder, and understanding how buildings are put together. You form a very valuable member of their team that way. You can also become a 3D architectural modeler. You'll have the skills to build digital models and create models for other offices. You can become involved in construction law or conservation, be a building designer. You can be a community development architect, a design coordinator from various businesses. You can become a furniture designer, or you can become a planner or urban designer, again, if you choose to do another professional degree at master's level and come out with those types of skills. So becoming an architect and what you do. So we talked very early on about some really interesting ways that architects can influence the built environment in a major way. But typically what you'll be doing is boils down to planning and designing the construction of buildings and what happens in the built environment. In your career, you could work on many different scales of projects. You could work on anything from a house to a skyscraper. You can work locally or globally to deliver design-focused architecture with a positive impact. You'll use your skills that you gain here at Deakin to create a sustainable future. Day-to-day tasks in an office might be working with clients to understand what their requirements are for the projects they're working on. You might visit prospective job sites to analyze and study appropriate designs for those particular sites. You might explore other creative possibilities around sustainable design, resiliency, understanding disaster preparedness, or various other specific aspects that might relate to broader ways that the profession connects into the region or the country that we're working in. So ultimately, you want to be an architect. How do you become an architect? So just to be clear, this 3-year Bachelor of Design and Architecture degree that we're talking about is followed by 2 more years of postgraduate study, typically in Australia. So this would mean that you would take the 2-year Master of Architecture course at Deakin, so you'll be here for 5 total years. And then you need to have workplace experience on top of that. Graduates from architecture programs like the one at Deakin are required to complete typically 2 years of logged work experience under the supervision of a registered architect, and then you take the architectural practice examination in order to call yourself an architect and use the term architect in a professional sense. Some of this 2 years of work experience can be done while you're studying, so you can keep your logs even if you are still a student. And then you go through the process, the examination, finishing the examination paper. At Deakin, we offer lots of global experiences as well as part of electives that you can take or various other things that you can do while you're a student here. We have the IDD, Intercultural Dialogue Through Design program. This is typically a 3-week study tour program that creates a collaborative design studio and cultural immersion activities, depending on where they go. Recently, we've partnered with Manipal Academy of Higher Education in India and brought students there to work with a local rural community on sustainable design concepts for a mother-child center. So we actually designed a building using connections to the community, talking with them as though they were the clients of the project, and creating design strategies for a mother-child center that the local community actually ended up building. We've also had this type of project in Malaysia, and we were planning on going to Vietnam this November, but I don't believe that is going to happen because of the pandemic, that those types of projects have been basically postponed right now. We have other study tours and student exchanges as well. We're working on student exchanges in North America and Europe at various institutions, and we have other faculty that have led study tours where you can study abroad for either a few weeks or for a trimester. And those students have visited countries all over Southeast Asia, including India, Nepal, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and a few partner universities around the world in the United States and Europe in particular. We're looking at actually expanding that program into South America in the very near future. To talk about Paperspace for a few more minutes, this is the annual student exhibit, again, that the school has. It basically showcases the outstanding work that our students coming out of the bachelor's and the master's program has. We'll take your final projects and create an exhibit around them. This exhibit has been done typically at Federation Square in Melbourne. This year, because of our current situation, we're going to be hosting it here in Geelong. And it's a wonderful chance to get everyone together to celebrate student hard work that they've had over their 3 to 5 years of our programs. Brings your opportunity for your friends and family to come visit. And it's also an important exhibition to get our professionals to come and see the type of work that you guys are doing. We often have a lot of professionals asking for students' information so that they can be hired at the various offices that these people come and visit from. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today, and I look forward to meeting you all in person sometime or seeing you in the Q&A session in the very near future.